Hello, how you doing? Thanks for looking in. So, I've been coming across a lot of police misconduct. There's been a whole spate of reports recently, across in the media, uh, officers appearing in court, but also lots of misconduct hearings. And so, only recently, the Met held a misconduct hearing on the 5th and 6th of January this year, 2026, and Graham Cotton, Inspector Graham Cotton, was adjudged to have committed gross misconduct. He basically, they had a gathering in a pub to celebrate success, and there were different inspectors there and police officers, but also some civilians who'd been helping the police with a particular project. And indeed, Graham Cotton behaved inappropriately towards one of the female civilians and in a sexually inappropriate manner. And there were 4 counts of improper behaviour. One of them included groping her bottom. Terrible, isn't it? So really, what can the police do? They really need to, they seem to be, years ago, I think these sort of incidents occurred and nothing happened, or they were swept under the carpet. But now the police seem to be making an effort to make examples of people who are behaving inappropriately. Even many of these incidents seem to occur off duty and in and around alcohol and pubs and things like that. Really horrible case. Luke, you ain't gonna like this one at all, I tell you. But I hate to think, if you're a victim of such a thing, how you would react. But anyway, this misconduct hearing occurred in December, recently in December 2025. 2 years after the incident occurred. It occurred on the 7th of December 2023. So 2 years after the incident. There was a Christmas party, a police staff Christmas party in a public house, and DC Eugene Emmanuel appears to have had a bit too much to drink and started behaving inappropriately towards a number of colleagues by rubbing them on the back, fiddling around with this and that, and I think one colleague had to tell him where to go, F.O., and things like that. But he followed one male colleague into the gents, and it was quite empty at the time, and he stood right next to his colleague at the urinal, and he shoved his fingers between his buttocks over the clothing with significant force, that the victim felt the fingers going into his anus, sort of thing. And that, crikey, terrible. I suppose, being a male, I I empathise even more with the victim. But goodness me, what disgusting behaviour, isn't it, really? And recently, 2 police officers appeared at Southwark Crown Court for repeatedly indecently assaulting a woman. And this, they initially pleaded not guilty, and a few days before the hearing, they pleaded guilty. So they sexually assaulted a woman at the rooftop bar in Leicester Square Hippodrome, and it was Jerome Beasley and Luke Robinson repeatedly that touched the victim's breast whilst ignoring her pleas for them to stop. So such behaviour really brings the police into bad disrepute, doesn't it? So they were given a suspended sentence, each of them. One was given 15 months and the other one 18 months. And this was suspended for 2 years. So this means that if they reoffend, commit any sort of offence during that period, of suspension of 2 years, they will be sentenced to, one of them 15 months and the other one 18 months respectively. They're also ordered to complete 250 hours community service, unpaid work in the community. They were made to attend a 30-day rehabilitation program, which is aimed at challenging their behaviour, getting them to understand how victims feel, and aimed at making sure they don't offend in such a way again. They were given a 5-year restraining order to keep away from the victim, have no contact with the victim whatsoever, and they were ordered to pay £750 each towards the victim, and ordered to pay £150 costs. So there you are. I'm keen for people to understand what sort of sentence was meted out, because often the media just talk about, oh, they got off going to prison, but actually 250 hours community service is quite a tough challenge. It means that they're going to have to attend a work placement and do work for the good of the community in a project, and they're going to have to attend 1 day a week basically for a period of a year roughly. And the rehabilitation program is quite challenging actually, and it really challenges people's attitudes about relationships, and gets them to think about victims and perspectives, and is really aimed at ensuring they don't offend again. And actually, you know, I in a way prefer this sort of outcome than rather sending somebody to a short jail sentence where no good will come of them, you know, for sure. As their officers, both Met police officers, you know, obviously they've been dismissed from the force and they're barred from committing, joining the police again, but they're also going to have going to be need to handle carefully, you know, because they're going to come into contact with normal offenders who don't take kindly to officers who offend. So, particularly in jails, you know, so there we are. So another piece of news is the former Chief Constable of Hampshire is likely to face a misconduct hearing over his workplace relationships. So there we are. Lots of inappropriate behaviour going on. And this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? But I really think that in life we you know, need to treat each other with courtesy and respect, and in a positive way. We need to try and help each other and be respectful, you know. And this terrible, disrespectful behaviour is just terrible, isn't it? Don't you agree? All right, all the very best now. Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.